A brand does not live on a platform. A brand lives in its own space, in its own natural form, so it can manage, deliver the value and extract an impact where people become memorable. If not, there's no relationship, there's no retention, there's no loyalty.
This is Let's Make Waves podcast. I'm your host, Rana Al-Basri Marwad, and I believe that we're all here to make waves. I created this podcast to help you build your brand by sharing with you tools, resources, and strategies to gain professional authority for better business opportunities. If you want to get unstuck, you've come to the right place. Let's get started. I have a very special guest this week who is a true pioneer in the world of branding. We're diving into the fascinating topic of building a brand beyond logos and aesthetics and exploring why it is crucial to build a brand for businesses and individuals alike. My guest is Baaghil, also known as the brand scientist. With over 30 years of experience in brand and marketing, Baaghil has dedicated his career to helping businesses and individuals define their brands to achieve relevance and relatability. His expertise brings structure and clarity to complex business ideas, making him a sought-after consultant worldwide. Baaghil's impressive portfolio includes collaborations with companies such as TAP Portugal, Theo, ICO Capital Switzerland, Saudi Stock Exchange, L'Oreal, Suda Development in Saudi Arabia, and Ahoy Technology in Dubai. His unique approach to branding has earned him international acclaim, and he is the first Arab to publish internationally recognized books on the subject of brand. He has also authored 4 influential books, including The Power of Belonging and the book Create Your Space, both of which are registered in the Library of Congress. Baaghil's insights have been featured in key publications such as Emotionomics by Dan Hill and Capture the Mindshare and the Market Share Will Follow by Libby Gill. Baaghil's unconventional mindset and trend-setting approach have consistently helped brands capture opportunities and achieve growth and success. It has been truly an honor to have him on the show today to share his wisdom and insights on building a powerful brand. So, without further ado, I hope you enjoy my conversation with the brand scientist, Baaghil. Baaghil, you wrote something in your bio I'd like to quote. You say that your approach to helping brands capture opportunities is rooted in an unconventional mindset, constantly pushing boundaries and setting trends. What is this unconventional mindset when it comes to today's market and, global landscape? What do you mean by that?
First of all, Rana, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
It's my honor. I'd like to stress on how cluttered the market is today, whether if it's personal brand or organizational brand. Mm-hmm. We lack authenticity. Mm-hmm. And it's not only about unconventional. Things became unconventional because we lack the authenticity and we lack the transparency, we lack the truth. And brand is all about authenticity. It's a natural form. It's not something that you're able to stage. The reason and the purpose of brand for organization is to humanize them. So how do you humanize an organization if it's not in its own natural form? Because first thing is, and we're going to talk about brand, I'm going to talk about a promise the brand makes.
Yes.
The brand promise is not born in a creative department or is not born at an advertising agency. It's born in the value chain. That is where the reality happens. Now, when we talk about the customer journey, if the value chain is not intact properly, to the little details which impacts the supply chain, then the customer journey completely fails on the promise. So here is the biggest question. If I'm building a value chain for an organization, am I going to be realistic on what I'm capable to do as my core capabilities versus our support capabilities. I think take Zara for an example. Zara, people think it's a fast fashion company. Actually, it's not. It's the best value chain, supply chain company in the world. It provides for you fast fashion, 100%. You wear it 5-6 times and you throw it away.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that the brand promise? Like the way people see Zara, for example, to stay with that example, isn't that part of the brand promise? So no.
Actually, I love what you just said. So when we really talk about value chain, how powerful Zara is in value chain and supply chain, that within 21 days, they're able to design, manufacturing, and reach to their stores. 21 days. Now, if we're going to talk about that, what is the promise that Zara brings to the table? Is it fashion? No. A lot of the fashion that Zara comes out is an existing fashion.
Yeah.
It's basically accessibility. The point that you're able to afford something you're not able to afford somewhere else, and it's and with an average quality and an average price, and you're able to wear it 6-7 times and throw it away, that has to be within the accessibility experience.
That's brilliant. And that is probably why a lot of people recognize Zara, the promise of Zara, of you being fashionable and you can get it immediately the minute the style comes out on the in fashion shows. This is the brand promise. What
Absolutely.
other elements should there be so that a company has built a very healthy brand in addition to the promise? What do you think are...
Well, the promise is one of the basic. I mean, first, let's go back to the definition. And as you saw,
yes, please,
previously in my post on LinkedIn, there is this misconception of what brand is.
Yes, and there's a lot of information out there, but the misconception is still around. Yes. Why is that?
Yes, a lot of people call it branding strategy, and sometimes I laugh at experts on LinkedIn, and they call it branding strategy. Well, first, there's nothing called branding strategy. It's called brand strategy.
Correct.
Second, branding is what you do every single second. Let me give you a perfect example. Rana, look at me. I'm wearing a cap. It says my name on it.
Yes, that's your brand.
Question here as a brand scientist.
That's correct.
And everything that comes out of my mouth this second, apart from the look and feel, I'm actually branding myself. Now, this happens with me by default because I've been doing it for so many years. That's now, right. Brand on the other side, which is a strategy, it is the idea of Baaghil with distinctive values. Now, that idea to come true, you need branding, and that branding needs to be extremely consistent. Mm-hmm. So you cannot come down the line 6 months later and come up with a different campaign, and then another creative agency, you fired this one, you brought another one, and they come up with a different idea because you don't understand brand. You go ahead and approve it. This is a catastrophe because brand, again, when we talk about authenticity, it's supported by consistency.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. And I like the way you've personalized it, because so much of what you say, there is an overlap between, in terms of definition for people to understand it better, when you're talking about you as a brand, from the outside, the inside, the promise and everything. It's also, we kind of can say the same thing when it comes to a company. Even if the company has existed for a long time, the process of always going back into the cycle of making sure, the research, making sure that the consumer still understands the brand the way it is. How can we humanize it even more? And am I with you in the right direction? Is that
absolutely? There's no difference between what a personal brand is and organizational. The process is the same, and the application is the same. It might sound a bit less by perception, the power of the personal brand versus the organizational, which I disagree because they're both as powerful. Today, if you're a founder of an organization and your voice is not out there in this era of digital world and AI, nobody can relate to you. At the end of the day, we need to talk to humans. We need to relate. So the most powerful word, and this comes the word called relatability. I can relate to AI, but if I think about ChatGPT, I need to know who the people are behind it, or else
Yeah.
I'm not going to use it.
Yeah. And
So,
you
yeah. Let
go
me
on.
give you an example. There's a lot of AI apps right now. AI is able to do this. For example, the English language, the language apps that exist today. The other day, I saw one of the platforms introducing an AI speaking that is able to teach me Spanish, French, or whatever language I wanted, versus Preplay, which they offer actual human beings. Now, here it's not about connectivity; it's about relatability. So
Yes.
there's a balance between my emotional attribute and my functional attribute. Logically, this one is cheaper, yes, but I cannot relate to.
Oh,
So happens a mental pause. And this is the problem with these organizations. They don't understand that the brand is a journey beyond just an AI functionality. So today, AI functionality, eventually, if it's not humanized, is just a function for $5.
I agree. I
Like the other
agree.
day, somebody asked me, "Do you think AI is going to replace my job?" I said, "Lucky enough, I work in the brand space, which is 90% emotions. AI cannot be emotional."
Yeah, it's very factual. It can get things done. But
Absolutely.
yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, sometimes when people ask me, will AI replace me? I really think we're at a time now where it's like, when the birth of the internet, will the internet do this? Will the internet take away, our jobs and everything? It's like, I think a lot of people who embrace AI and kind of work with AI, these are the people that are not going to lose their jobs, and of course the human element to it. But that's that's me.
No, but here I wrote an article. As you know, I'm a brand consultant and futurist.
Yes.
I wrote an article where it said by 2028, what I'm doing today, I'm not going to do, which
Okay.
is the strategies.
Yeah.
AI would do the strategies. So I'm going to be called by 2028. Instead of working for 8 hours, I'm probably going to end up working for 2 hours. So I'm going to be called in for 30 minutes to validate what AI came in, because it's called confirmation, human confirmation.
Yeah.
Now, to reach to that human confirmation, I need to be a brand,
Yes.
or else nobody's going to come to me. That's one. The second part, once I do the human confirmation, my price offered in 2024 versus my price offering in 2028 is going to be 6, 7 times more.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's why I encourage any soft skills today. If you think it's about your skills, forget it. It's
No.
about your behavior, forget it. If you're not brand, you're out.
Oh my God. On that note, because now I think it's the right time to segue more
Sure.
into personal brand. And I really think that this is a topic we can't talk about enough. You said something on LinkedIn, actually. You wrote this on LinkedIn regarding personal brand. You said, in today's world, personality sells because it's not just about what you offer, but how you make people feel. That truly resonates and drives lasting connection. Work on your personal brand, or else you will face stagnation, which kind of complements something that you've just said. So, what is this lack of understanding specifically when it comes to personal brand? When I mean, now that we're talking, it's just common sense. You know what I mean? Like, it's something that we have known since ages, that this is something important. Even before all of this technology and the AI, you would buy from the grocery shop because you know the person and he earned your trust and there's a relationship, or you went to a certain doctor because of, not only because of his expertise, of course he's qualified, but also because of his personality and because of his name and his reputation and his image. Why today, when there is the process of building a personal brand is on a bigger scale, you can go global building a personal brand, but still there's a lot of apprehension? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, this is a very interesting question. So I'm going to take you back to a bit of history. In 2007, when personal brand was not known, I started that. I started out of a pain to build my brand, and I've been consistent since then. Now, the second part is 3 years ago, we've launched our personal brand program.
Mm-hmm.
The sort of clients that come to us versus what comes to us today is a lot different. in the beginning, people were coming to stage themselves. It's all about popularity, look and feel. I need followers. I need all that. All the superficial side.
Mm.
Then we realized that there's a clear problem here, which is the misconception of what personal brand is, which delivers the value. Now, a lot of people that go into the personal brand program, they don't understand what is the value and what is the benefit, short-term, mid-term, and long-term. So we adjusted our program from just a 3 weeks to a month program to 1 year, because we want to take the person on a journey and coach them to climb up the ladder and thrive. Now, the problem is, I want to be politically correct, and
feel free to say.
Yeah. The problem is that this $5 peddlers that go on LinkedIn and other social medias and trying to sell personal brand program as something as of profile, colors, great picture, and so forth. For example, there's few that sell personal brand program on LinkedIn. Now, here's my challenge. They call it personal branding, but I corrected one of them inbox and he blocked me, which is absolutely fine with me. Because it really bothers me that when the terminologies are not used correctly.
Exactly. What's in the program if the terminology is wrong, like the title is wrong?
Exactly. Imagine what are you going to get for it. So I see them, it says, building your personal brand on LinkedIn. How is that different from off LinkedIn?
Yes. Or Instagram.
Or Facebook. You know what I mean? So I laugh. I'm like, okay, so if you're going to help me build the personal brand on LinkedIn. So the platform itself has positioned itself like network, career, recruitment, and so forth. And the other one is positioned itself as entertainment. Are you trying to tell me I'm going to be a different person on Instagram and Snapchat? And then when I go on X, formerly known Twitter, I'm going to be a news anchor, chatbot. Well, on LinkedIn, I'm going to act professional. There's 5-6 different personalities you have to navigate.
Crazy.
So where is the authenticity here? It doesn't. I don't care if you tell me. A brand does not live on a platform. A brand lives in its own space, in its own natural form, so it can manage, deliver the value and extract an impact where people become memorable. If not, there's no relationship, there's no retention, there's no loyalty.
Agree. I love that. And I'm so happy that you kind of address the elephant in the room, and that is the other than, I think a lot of the misconception is because people mix the brand with the logo and the look and feel and how do I look in pictures and what are my colors, with the context and content, the content in terms of who you are, what do you do, the values that you embrace, the authentic voice that you have. Are these the main elements that people need to really think about when it comes to personal brand before step 10, which is the colors, the colors, the logo, the signature, the etc. Do you see that?
I think the same applies for organizations too. We've seen many case studies across the past 2 years, from big companies in America to an airlines in the Middle East. So everything in personal brand and organization is also aesthetic. It lacks the science of brand. Now, when we talk about the science of brand right now, we talk about the values. How do you craft values? And how do you create a benefit from those values? Now, for example, I work with an organization on their brand. Am I going to propose a value? No, I'm going to look at data, build up an insight. At the same time, look at the stakeholders, do the audit on the stakeholders, understand the core capability of the company. What are support capabilities of this organization? At the end of the day, they are people, and not all of them are experts. So you can go to a company where the leadership is powerful and the one at the bottom is below average. So how are you going to build a brand? Well, he's one of the touch points.
Correct. Exactly.
So exactly. So when we build a brand, we need to look at the natural form of the organization, both on vision, mission, and purpose, which is the business strategy. At the same time, we need to look at the human capability within the organization and the enablement of technology. And that comes from the prime from the prime channels and the support channels. So when it comes, let me give you an example. If it's an FMCG, and we're going to talk about the prime activities. So in FMCG, if you're in manufacturers, inbound is all the raw materials, then goes into production, and then outbound, then marketing and sales, then support. These are the value chain. These are the prime. Now the support is technology, HR, finance, and so forth. If all this space does not work properly within seconds like Apple does, there's no brand.
There's no brand, yeah.
Absolutely, because the promise comes from there. That's where the promise comes in. So what do I do usually? I work based on what is this organization as people and idea are capable to do, and based on their core capabilities and their network of stakeholders, both internal and external, that are able to support them to deliver their value, I build the brand around that. But the idea that I go and say, oh yeah, you know what? How about this promise? You're the number one quality in the world. There's nothing like you. You know what I mean? This is elevating what brand is not to something we would call the propagated claim, which is a false claim.
Yes.
Now, when you have a false claim, and then the customer or the client or the user goes through an experience with you, you didn't fail. You basically impacted a negative perception that you cannot change unless you change the name of the organization and everything else, which is far more
it takes time. Yes, absolutely. And a long term, because the impression has already been imprinted. Now, Baaghil, I really like you've said that, and it kind of breaks down everything when it comes to an organization. And you've just mentioned minutes ago that your program, the personal brand program, started weeks and then a month, and then you've extended it for a year. So this is part of recognizing that building a personal brand is a long-term process. It takes time. You cannot say, I decide to build my personal brand within a month. I have one and I'm selling. I mean, it doesn't work like that. It's a building process.
We saw the results. We've done the 3 weeks, and you know, I live by 3 principles: authenticity, transparency, and truth. I'm not here to be politically correct. And in the interview, I'm here to speak the truth because because your audience are expecting a value. I'm not here to build my brand. I'm here to tell you the truth. And that is the truth. So when we first launched the program, we had people for 3 weeks and 6 weeks program. Some tried, some didn't, and that's the truth. But we had to learn, myself and my team. We had to learn, how can we improve this? So we moved to the year program, and definitely we've realized the impact. That's one. Now, this last year was our first year program. Now this is our second year program for the 1 year program. Now we realized something else also, that 1 year is not enough. They need to be on a 3-year program if they want to see an execution of success, a fast, impactful. But have the 1 year program provided an excellent result? Today, I can tell you I'm extremely happy. I'll tell you why. I'm not claiming this in front of your audience. But I can give you an example. When people apply to our personal brand program, do you know what we do, Rena?
Tell me.
We just tell them, the first thing you're going to do, we're not going to provide you with any information, but we're going to provide you the name and numbers of the people that took the program. Call them. Ask them whatever you want in detail. And once you're comfortable that those ambassadors that took our program validated that we're successful, come to us. If not, don't pay, don't come.
Of course. I mean, this is the biggest advocacy is when you're client.
A lot of personal brand consultant in America and in Europe, they think I took the highest risk. I didn't. That's the truth. Why? What's the use of doing a program and taking people's money and you're not able to enable them? Let me add one more thing. Personal brand is not just about values. It's about leadership.
Yes, I'm happy you were talking about leadership, because today when people are intentionally building their personal brand, a lot of the elements that comes in the process of building that brand over the course of time is about thought leadership. But I think that so many think that thought leadership is, I need to be X amount of years experience in my field. I need to have written and published books. I need to, X, Y, and Z. There's this image of what a thought leader should look like. But like we both know that, someone who could be fresh into his career or her career can actually start building their thought leadership traits. Is that something that you? Yeah.
I absolutely agree. I mean, with the digital world, I mean, I'm not going to mention names, but one of the examples I've had or I've witnessed a few years back, let's say 7, 8 years ago, someone wrote a book about brand in Arabic. Okay. And he literally took everything off the internet.
Now, okay, off air, you need to tell me the name of the book.
but that gentleman, when I confronted him about, because I'm an advocate for brand. I've been an advocate for brand for the last 20 years. The misconception has hurt me, has hurt many brand experts. But because the gentleman was born out of the design space, he felt like brand, he should own it. And we all have to agree that brand is art and science. Absolutely.
Yes.
But brand does not impact the organization's top line, improve margins, and so we can have better bottom line, unless two things actually. Brand has science that influences the transactions. B, a great marketing understanding, or else it won't work. It won't. So the idea of brand being a flashy that comes out with look and feels and touch points, and then all of a sudden, I mean, I want to give you reality examples, Rena, so your audience can benefit. I hate to come on podcasts or interviews, and I decline many of them because they want me to be politically correct. And I've never been politically correct. But let me tell you something. I'll give you several examples. When you work on a brand strategy, you need to cascade that brand strategy over time. You cannot just go launch an advertising campaign, especially if you're a retail. Let's say if you're a retail with 1,000 stores, okay, let's say 1,500 stores. The first thing you do is you call an agency, one of the top agencies in the world, Leo Burnett, JWT, and so forth. You sign a contract. And then you launch this massive campaign. I, as a client, I'm going to your store. But when I go there, nothing changed except what's on the billboard.
Yes, exactly.
I go to the guy. Hi, how are you? I see this campaign. What's going on? Oh, I don't know. That's marketing. So
the disconnect.
So the idea never went down. The first people you need to onboard are your internal stakeholders, your employees. They're your ambassadors. They're the advocate for your brand. So people get rushed so much about campaign and so forth. Let me give you another example. Saudi Airlines is one of the great examples recently. They went back to the old look and feel, and they called it rebrand. Well, they changed some of their business verticals. It is somewhat a rebrand, but it's not. It's a repositioning. Why? The name remains the same.
Saudi Airlines. Yeah.
So you didn't change the name. The name is actually an influential to the attributes. So we didn't change that. So why is it repositioning? Because they changed a lot of stuff, and I like some of the stuff they changed. But where is the challenge? The challenge is, why did you throw all these campaigns out with your promise, and yet there's a lot of things inside haven't changed? And that's where we talk about authenticity. So if I want my brand to be real, I'm going to slow down. Make sure the value chain works. Make sure the customer journey works. Perfection. Then I'm going to go out and announce. Or else, when the client or the user or the customer goes through the journey, I'm only leaving him with a negative impact. For every customer or client gets a negative impact, you lose 20 more. So that becomes a population of negative advocates. So what did you do? You failed.
Yeah, you shot yourself in the foot.
Brand has been applied, moving from authenticity to advertising claims. and celebrating the short term over the long term, this is not brand. This is not brand strategy. Has nothing to do with brand. This actually what it is. I'm going to tell you. It's called trade marketing plus advertising. Best. That's it.
Exactly. That's it. That's it. And I'm so thankful that you gave this as example, because it clearly shows the impact and the how can I say, the job of the brand strategist or the brand expert that you bring on board, to show you where exactly the brand is going to impact. And it's not just on the top there with the colors and the logos and the everything. It has to be across the customer journey, or even internally, the training that needs to be done to the internal stakeholders and all of that.
Let me add one of the ethical part. Here's a question, Rena. Is advertising is unethical? Is brand all about ethical? Of course.
Of course.
Brand is all about authenticity. So here, Rena, I take your money, and you see a billboard, I promise you the world. And yet I took your money and you went through. What I did, two things. I've touched your feelings. I hurt you. I lied to you. And then I'm doing the same to other people. So the purpose of brand in the beginning is to remove yourself from transactional to humanization. You know what I mean? Let me take you back. In the 70s, we used to import, export product and manufacture product and distribution, a marketing mix. I mean, I'm a graduate in marketing mix, purely marketing. What sort of relationship did the customer have with the company? Nothing. It was purely transactional. Pay, get your product, go back, you have complaints, I'll fix them, that's it. So when brand was introduced in the mid-90s with Nike, which Nike mastered it was about humanizing the organization, creating a greater purpose, so that organization is able to build up communities and build a relationship where there's retention and loyalty, because that's how you improve the top line sales, margins, and so forth. But unfortunately, we're not applying this. So the ethics comes where the more you promise, the less you can claim or you can deliver. And the best thing to do is promise what you can in your reach, that in your hardest time, when you're at the bottom, you're able to deliver the value. Even when your suppliers is shut down and they cannot reach you or you cannot reach them, but you still can deliver that value in the hardest time. That is brand authenticity. That is what brand is. Not this propagated thing. So I'm the best. I am this. I get an influencer from Twitter. Oh, ha, ha, ha. And I have 50,000 people laughing at it, clicking like, and shares. All the superficial things has nothing to do with brand.
Yes, I agree. And sometimes it doesn't even affect the bottom line.
At all.
Yeah.
Let me give you another example, about a person, which also the personal brand.
Yes,
you have a lot of influencers on Twitter. A lot of them are subject matter experts. So it's on LinkedIn. So it's on Instagram. There's a clear difference between a creator and an influencer.
Correct. I agree.
I'm not an influencer. I'm a creator. I create my own content. I create my own strategies, my way of thinking on brand. Now, what's the difference between this is amazing. Listen to this. If I invite a creator to come on stage and speak, I'll pay him 20 times more than I'll pay the influencer who's on Twitter who has 550,000 people. Why? Because the influencer is using somebody else's content and sharing it, adding a bit of his thought, but he cannot create. He's adding on what is created. Now the creator is able to take me the whole entire journey, whether it's futuristic or present, and able to impact so much values that I can be very overwhelmed. Then he's memorable. I can never forget him. Next time he publishes a book, I'll be the first one to pick the book. He's on podcast, I'll go listen. But the influencer, mental pause, goes back on Twitter, shares something else, adds on it. This is the distinctive between a creator and influencer. Now, when we talk about personal brand, a creator is powerful personal brand.
Yes.
Am I saying that the influencer is not a personal brand? Well, If the content is, this is beautiful. If the content is consistent, he's building his reputation on that content, but he's not a brand.
But he's not a brand. I totally agree. I totally agree. And funny enough, that content creator will influence people around them in the sense that is their impact through their content, through their
Absolutely.
context,
Absolutely.
will help people maybe to move the needle in their business or
Absolutely.
change a certain mindset or whatever. So
I know of a media person who has thousands, 100, 500, 1 million followers on Twitter. And I know another guy. He's a subject matter expert within my space. He's from abroad and powerful. The two were invited to speak, and I was one of the speakers. And they selected me to be the keynote speaker and him to be the keynote speaker, but not her, because she's not a subject matter expert and she doesn't create her content. Her argument was, do you know how many followers I have on Twitter? And look at them. So she came up to me and she said, can I see your Twitter account? I said, oh, back then I didn't have a Twitter. I said, no, I don't have a Twitter. I have LinkedIn. So she goes, how many followers do you have on LinkedIn? Back then I had 20,000. 20,000, I told her maybe 20,000 and 10% are engaging. The other 90% don't like me probably, but they follow me. So she goes, but why are you a keynote speaker? I said, oh, not because I create content, but I can tell you why if you want. And then she goes, tell me. A, if I don't have relevance, I'm not a brand. So if you're asking me why, I probably impacted them to get me on stage and pay me. Apart from the keynote, you should ask. Don't ask me, but ask the other guy if you want. How much they paid him and how much you got paid. You will see the worth both on monetary and also the value why you're not a keynote speaker. Then she realized that the truth is not about followers on Twitter. It's about her creating a value. And what she does is promote somebody else's value. Yeah. And that's why influencers, for me, when we talk about advertising, when we talk about companies using influencers, a lot of companies use influencers.
Yes, and their marketing, influencer marketing.
And their marketing and so forth. You know the risk. If any of these influencers, anything goes wrong, who gets hurt?
It will impact the brand, of course, but it's not as bad as being a brand ambassador. That's even more catastrophic.
Yeah, but still, they're brand ambassadors. I'll tell you why. Because they're using the values that this company created in their name.
Absolutely.
Sense. Whether you call them an influencer or not, at the end of the day, they're brand ambassadors. They're the voice of the brand. So anything goes wrong. Then their action offline and online would definitely remind them of the brand that they influenced. So we need to manage perspectives and understand the value we bring and how we do it. So in a nutshell, Rana, the idea of influencers or advertising and so forth kills the authenticity. I believe in organic growth, and I've done it with many companies. You need to be patient for sure.
It is, yeah. It's a long road. On the note of influencers and social media, today the way things are, social media is a great tool for people to build their, utilize while building their personal brand. I mean, they get connected everywhere. So, what would be your advice so that they don't fall into the influencer trap? And it's not about the numbers. It's even the quality of your followers. You might have 1 million, but the quality of the followers is very different from someone who might have 5,000 and the quality is hardcore. How do people who are professionals, who are building their thought leadership status, of course their reputation, how should they wisely use social media and organically also?
Okay. I actually like your question, but let me say this. Let me raise the problem first.
Okay.
The social pressure. everyone that opens a LinkedIn account and Twitter account, his first quest is how to increase the numbers
Sure.
and how to appear popular.
Sure.
That comes out of social pressure. The second part, when you follow existing values, you move away from your own authenticity, your own distinctive value. And God has created you in your own nature. If you cannot embrace that, it's like somebody says, and you follow me on Instagram, you see how advocate I am about my own heritage and roots of Hadra.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, if somebody says, Baaghil, you don't speak proper Arabic, right? Your forefathers left 200 years ago from the Arabian Peninsula, okay? And you're very Westerner, okay? So do you consider yourself an Arab?
Of course.
That's the difference between an origin and a nationality. So it's the same token here. If we're going to talk about authenticity, we're talking about everything that's in detail in you. Whatever is created is something that's created out of social pressure. Now, if I sign up on my LinkedIn account or anywhere and I'm trying to fit in the narrative, it has nothing to do with my personal brand. And if I don't get hired, I'm the problem. If I'm not getting paid for what I deserve, I'm the problem.
Because it's not the numbers. It's not the number. It's not because you have 500 followers instead of 50,000.
You know, Rena, I'm trying to be politically correct.
No, please. You promised to be open.
I have 42,000. If they all disappear tomorrow,
I agree with you. Yeah.
I would still live. So it's not, I don't look at the followers. I don't look at the numbers. I look at what values do I bring. Let me give you another example. I have 42,000 followers or 45,000 maybe on LinkedIn. But out of the 45,000, the reality is 9% or 7% are observing the value I bring. The others are just following me for the sake of follow. They don't even know what they're following me. Am I saying something wrong? No, I'm just speaking the truth. Would that hurt my brand? No.
That is part of your brand. This is part of your values.
Yes. This is my tone.
That's your tone, yeah.
Yeah. So if we chase followers, we're chasing a narrative that's not ours. If we are part of a social circle just to fit in, we lack our authenticity. And all of this defeats the purpose of being a personal brand. It's like, one time in 2012, I was speaking in Paris. One of the Arab nationals came up to me and goes, "Your name is not going to sell." I'm like, "Oh, really?" "Yeah, maybe you want to change it to Saido, Sam, make it and get the last name turned around to Bag or whatever you want to call it." And I said, "Why would I do that?" He goes, "Well, so you can fit in because you have great value." I completely refused. And I stuck to my name, Baaghil, right here. Why? Because I want to move away from who I am. And I love who I am. I love my roots. I love my identity as Hadrami or as an Arab. I love where I came from. I'm thankful to God that I am part of this space and so forth, even if there's negative or positive. Just like an Irish guy who's proud of his own Irish and then he speaks about it loudly. I speak loudly of my own heritage, roots, and so forth. But to change my name to fit the narrative or call myself Adam or Michael because I'm in the West and I'm consulting, so I'm able to be invited on stage to speak, I don't know how I can sleep at night.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Apart from sleeping at night, can I tell you something?
Yes, please.
Imagine my own son comes in there and says, "Hey, Dad, can I call you Michael?" Damaging.
I mean, no offense to anybody called Mike. It was just as an example.
No. I respect everyone, but I'm just saying I would not change my name and my authenticity to fit the narrative. Guess what? I don't care.
Yeah. And this is also, I mean, it's a great, I love what you said, because that also answers of not falling into the trap, because we were talking about social media and its importance for building a personal brand for professionals. It's also that you will have that kind of pressure, not only in terms of follower count, but they might, ask you to do certain changes or to take values that may be irrelevant for you or not within, does not represent you, just so that you can sell. right?
Yeah, absolutely. I refuse to get paid so I can fit the narrative. I've had clients where I told them, I'm sorry, I cannot help you. Why? Because they need me for the wrong reasons. Look, I will work with any client that has a dream that wants to make an impact globally. I would give my life to it. But I'm not going to work with a client who wants simple tweak because he wants to get popularity and superficial stuff. I don't do that stuff. There's plenty ad agencies, branding agencies, little studios in the corner that can do this stuff.
Yeah, the hole in the wall. Okay. I have a couple of more questions. I want to make so much of this time. So
No, no problem.
um, I was, I don't know if you've read the Daniel Priestley's book, Key Persons of Influence. One of the many things that he mentioned, and you mentioned it as well, is the importance of really part of the journey of building your personal brand is actually understanding where you're going, where are you now, and how do you need to build yourself in terms of learning new skills, maybe getting whatever you need to get, connecting with the right people, and so on. One of the factors also he mentioned is content creation and the importance of content creation, publishing a book, and having a voice. So that's something that you both, he in his book, and you've just mentioned that. However, there's a lot of articles now coming out about celebrating faceless marketing when building a personal brand. What's your opinion about faceless marketing? For the people who are shy, I mean, nobody's comfortable on camera, but
Well,
faceless marketing.
faceless is absolutely fine. I'll tell you something. Let me give you an example. In the Muslim world, they are munaqaba or muhajjaba. She doesn't want to appear.
Yeah.
So are you going to tell me that she cannot be a personal brand? Of course she can be.
Sure.
It's her value that dictates her. She can keep an image consistently that's not her face.
Sure.
All right. But she'll become the point of reference. She can be a powerhouse. The idea, what defeats the purpose of personal brand is the idea that you need to look like Hollywood star or a model from Vogue. There's nothing to do with personal brand. Personal brand is all about values. If there's a lady and anywhere in the world decided that, listen, I don't want a face, but I want to deliver a value, absolutely fine. I'm actually working with several right now, absolutely no zero face. They don't want to appear, which they said, Baaghil, do you mind? I said, no, very happy.
Yeah, I want to not challenge that, but I want to tell you what I think. I actually wrote about this in LinkedIn, and I said, faceless marketing has been there forever. It's not something new. And yes, a lot of people, especially, content creators on social media, they're really enjoying doing faceless kind of content, and it works and it's great. So this is something that, yeah, I agree with you. It does not affect while you're building your personal brand. However, one of the strategies that you will have, and especially in your content strategy, is publicity. So depending on faceless marketing, 100% might be challenging in the different verticals of marketing that you'll be
Absolutely.
using. So at one point, they need to see the human. This is what
I absolutely agree with you, but I also have an answer to that if you allow me.
Yes, please.
It's all about target audience.
I agree. Yeah.
For example, if I'm faceless and I'm addressing the West, they might challenge me, and I'll be pressured.
Oh yes, the cultural norms are very a huge player.
Very important role.
Yeah.
But if I'm in Saudi Arabia, face doesn't matter as long as if my name is Amal El Ghamdi, for example, in Saudi, and I don't have a face, it's fine.
That's fine. I agree with you. And I did write that in my article. Yeah.
It depends on our target audience, But I like Rena what you said, because it also applies to names. Your name is Rena and you live in Canada.
Yeah.
My name is Baaghil. I live in the West. And every time somebody tries to pronounce my name, Baaghil. I love how the West pronounces my name. But what brings me on stage is not my name. Like somebody said, I should call myself Michael or Sam. What brings me on stage to speak in Istanbul, London, or anywhere else in the world, it's my values. It's what I write and how I discuss. I challenge. And people think, Rena, I challenge brands in the Middle East. No, I challenge brands everywhere. I challenge even brand experts.
Yes, I agree to that.
I challenge them. Let me mention one thing. In 2015, oh no, sorry, 2012, 11, sorry, I was invited to be part of Daniel's book, Emotionomics. Great guy. Um, when he asked me to be part of the book and praise the book with Faith Popcorn, Martin Lindstrom, and so forth, and I asked him why me. He goes, I'm flying from Singapore to New York, and I stopped by in Dubai and picked up this magazine called Gulf Marketing Review, and I just loved your art. You nailed it. I'm like, oh, okay. So I appeared. When I appeared, I literally decided my full name should be there. My name was not Baaghil, it was Saeed Agil Abdullah Muhammad Baaghil. The whole, the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, that's one of the many reasons how I hit the global market. But what I'm trying to say is, it's the values. If you continuously learn and pressure what exists and stress that there's something much bigger than what exists, it really builds your personal brand. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Oh, Baaghil, I want to ask you so many questions, but we're going to wind it down.
Sure.
I have a question that I would love to close with this, and I put it down here. Recently, also on LinkedIn, whoever is listening or watching this, you guys, you really need to follow Baaghil, especially on LinkedIn, because there's a really beautiful mix of the kind of content that you do, which is some of it, of course, is very much your opinion, your voice. You also have articles that you put on where you kind of put a spotlight. It's like a case study. I love that. And of course, the content that you put on the fly where you're traveling and, you catch different things. So on LinkedIn, you published, this is during your trip to New York after attending the brand council committee you were on.
Yes.
You wrote, "The future is bright. If we cannot create value, we cannot evolve. Remember, everything is worth the value." And this is like I'm gonna, while editing this, I'm sure I'm gonna put a count on how many times you said value, and you kind of integrated the word, the meaning, the essence, and everything that we've talked about during our chat today. So I'd like to end with this in terms of your final words to our community and listeners. What is the importance of creating value, being of value as a personal brand, and networking and being around a community or creating a community that is of value? How do you see that?
Look, let me say this. Back in 2008, I would wear a suit with a cufflink.
Yeah. It was in.
I drove all type of luxury cars. But I wasn't doing it for me. I was doing it because it's to fit in so I can do business. So basically, I was adapting people's values, not mine. In 2007, when I realized something is wrong, absolutely, and I'm not standing for what I truly believe in, I decided to go on a journey. It was to Hong Kong. I didn't work for 6 months, but I was searching, how can I build my name? And the pressure that came from building my name was that because prior to 2007, everything I created, business owners will put their name on it rather than my name. So I felt intellectually robbed, which is my core business, So going on that journey, I found one thing which is so true, that the value, it's all about delivering value. Even in your life, even in relationships, even with your kids, with anyone, it's all about delivering your values. And if you don't understand what these values are and how they benefit society, you cannot impact, you cannot create leadership, you cannot create a brand. The second part also is, if you're authentic, value comes from authenticity. The mother of values is authenticity. Let me give you an example. If I adapt to values because I'm living in a certain area, and if I don't adapt those values, I'll be lonely. I'd rather be lonely. Why would I adapt somebody else's value and live by them? How long do I have left in this world? I want my name to be there too. I want to get the deeds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why would I go? Why would I work on somebody else's values and they get the D's while I'm being their advocate and I cannot create my own values to get the D's? The third and far most important for me is that it's called giving. Now, giving, a lot of people are telling me on LinkedIn, they send me an inbox, oh my God, the stuff you share, a consultant would not share them. But I have a secret to tell you. The more I share, the more I give, a lot I get. A lot I get, and I've seen it. I've seen it materialize in front of my face. Whether if it's on LinkedIn, whether if I'm walking on the street and I see somebody who needs my help, whether if I hug a poor guy or a rich guy, whatever it is, as long as you give, you're going to get. And you know what? More people will tell you, oh, but if you go against the political narrative or whatever exists narrative, you're going to be all alone. There's nothing called loneliness. You know why? Because each of us, out of our own fabric, we have our own community, but we never realize them. So the more you're deeper in your core essence, you understand who you are as a human being, and you embrace it, no matter what people's impression of you is, you will find your community. My core essence, Rena, is eccentric by nature, and I will not change it. I'm happy with it. I find myself around eccentric, creative, innovative people. I get bored. I get bored to my skull if you put me down around superficial people. Who talks about cars and watches. I cannot. I just get bored. So I embrace this truth. I'm not belittling anyone, not at all. I'm just saying I embrace my own truth. And this brings me down to two things: authenticity and value. And once you realize your value right now, trust me, you don't have to plan to give. It just happens naturally.
Oh my God, I can talk to you for the next 3 hours. But I'm so grateful and thankful that we had this discussion and we had this conversation. I mean, to everybody who's going to be watching and listening to this was 3 years in the making. Finally.
I'm so sorry. I'm
no.
On my travels and
no. It's between the travels and between, things like that. And then, life happens on my end as well. So I'm just so happy that we finally sat down and we had this conversation, because I really think that today, more than ever, the conversation of a personal brand should be much more prominent. And I think it's because of how things are advancing. We are post-pandemic era, and the way things are advancing, and with AI, and with how the world economies are progressing. Today, more than ever, people should build their own economy. And it all starts with building their personal brand, irrelevant if they decide to create a business or not.
Absolutely. I think I just saw data the other day, and I've been saying this for years. I think the soft skill industry, with technology and AI, the soft skill industry has grown massively. But unfortunately, the soft skill experts, they only think about skills. They don't want to elevate themselves from skills. So they think, hey, this is my resume. And resume what, Rena? Bullet points, You get bored reading that resume. Tell me a story.
Yeah.
Tell me your bio. Tell me how you started. We buy into narratives. We don't buy into bullet points.
I agree. I need to track you down. I hope it doesn't take another 3 years, but we need to go into that, the importance of storytelling and building a personal brand. I love that. Another topic, another day. But Baaghil, thank you so much again for your time. I'm really grateful for you. All of your details, all of the links to connecting with Baaghil will be in the show notes. And thank you so much again for your time.
Pleasure, Rena. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
What can I say about Baaghil? I truly loved having this chat with him. And I'm so grateful to him for sharing his expert opinion on the so many topics that we discussed and that affect so many of us who are working really hard on building a business and building a personal brand. So I really do hope that you enjoyed this week's episode and my conversation with Baaghil. All the details to connect with him will be in the show notes. And I hope you have a very nice and wonderful week. Take care and keep making waves. Bye.